Hey, welcome to my channel where I talk about my dolls, and that's literally it. And in this video, I'm finally going to be talking about the 90s twins, Isabel and Nicki. And I'm actually really excited to share their world because they exist at a time that was very developmental for me, the 90s, because I was a teenager at the time. And I think that's probably why I see them as sort of more teenage characters than kids as you normally would see them as like 9-year-olds. And I know they were marketed as 12, but I should start by saying that to me they're more around 16, and they're not really set around 1999 to 2000 because their style, that's not what 1999 looked like. They look a little bit more like somewhere between 1995 and 1997. Like Isabel, for example, let me bring her forward. She's so clueless, like Alicia Silverstone Clueless. Cher was the name of the character in the movie. And that movie was 1995. And I didn't really love the movie at the time. I think it was just, it came out at a time that I wasn't really into that, let's say, style. I was much more Nicki in 1995 to 1997. But having the juxtaposition of the two characters is nice. And the doll herself is really pretty. I guess I decided to start with Isabel, even though I wanted to start with Nicki. Anyway, so let me talk about how the reason I love Isabel is because she's my favorite mold. I have to exclude Claudia whenever I talk about American Girl because she's just going to dominate everything. So my favorite mold, aside from Claudia, is the Joss mold. And I like the fact that she's got those bright green eyes and the blonde hair. She's not my normal aesthetic, but something about her really works. And I think it is because of that nostalgia. I think it is because of that nostalgia. And as I was saying before, she's not my exact style, but I do have fond memories of, let's say, 1995 to 1997. And as you can see, she's wearing her meat outfit with all her meat accessories, and she's holding her cordless phone, which, again, very 1995 to 1997. And it goes with the bedroom set that I'm going to get to in a minute. And now, you know what it is? I'm trying to talk about her so fast because I really want to talk about Nicki, who is, when I look back at the mid-90s, mid to late 90s, let's say, Nicki is very me, a girl version of me, because I was a boy in the 90s, but like just the way she dresses, the way her hair is, and I'm assuming she would listen to the same kind of music that I listened to at the time, which, looking at her hair, I feel like Luscious Jackson hasn't really stayed in the zeitgeist since. They're not like as pop culture iconic as they were around 1990. I want to say 1997 is when they had that song Naked Eye, which this is what the lead singer looked like at the time. And with her style being very skaterish and let's say alternative, I relate a lot to this character, and that's why I always saw a lot of myself in her. And I think that's why it took a while for me to warm up to Isabel. And at first I ordered Nicki thinking I would never ever have Isabel, as if like I wasn't eventually going to buy almost every doll there is. But this is a little off topic, but when I'm getting into a collection, I should say specifically, I tend to look at it in chunks, like look at the top tier, and then before I know it, I'm collecting all the dolls. So that's why I ended up getting Isabel in the end. But before then, Nicki, and she remains one of my top, let's say 5 dolls, top 10 at least, because now that I have so many, that number is getting bigger and bigger. And so I kind of look at Nicki and Isabel as two different, I mean, I think they're supposed to be two different worlds. So the Nicki side of the table, because there are friends that I've introduced into their world, Nicki is going to be like my reality that I faced in the 90s, and Isabel's side of the table is going to be like people I probably would not have been friends with. But not that I had any problems with them. So having said that, no. Before I get to their friends, actually, let me make some room, because I really want to share their bedroom set as one of my favorite pieces from the 90s collection. And I'm kind of jumping all over the place because I'm excited to talk about them. It's been, you know, how long I've been trying to like get to this. So here is the main component of the bedroom set, which is a desk and a computer. And this is what makes me not relate to the 90s twins at all. I never, because of how I was raised and what was going on with my life in the 90s, I never would have had a computer. I don't even think I knew anybody who had a computer. But outside of that, the computer is really cool. It's like a really cool accessory, and I'm hoping that that everything's gonna get picked up. Sorry, let me just move this out of the way a little bit because I want this obnoxious sound that's about to come on to be audible. So as you can see, it lights up. Anyone who was around for the turn of the millennium would remember that sound. And again, I only knew it from when I got a little bit older and I had friends who actually had a computer. So this is I guess it's supposed to look like, no, it's not supposed to look like a Mac. It's just supposed to look like a generic PC computer. And it comes with these plastic pieces. Uh-oh, I didn't know that triggers it. Uh-oh, how do I turn that, make that quieter? So I want to show the different pieces that it comes with because I have it displayed with the default, like the home screen. But the cool thing about the computer is it came with these other options, and a lot of them are American Girl related. And I didn't know American Girl in the 90s to early 2000s, so I don't really relate to them. But I'll just show in case anybody else is curious.
Isabel, come take this quiz with me.
I didn't know that happened. You put in different things and it makes different noises. Ha! We're learning together.
Isabel, come take this quiz with me.
She didn't sound like that in the cartoon because I watched it. So this is an American Girl quiz, and I think this is there was some game where you used to play on the American Girl website. Okay, I feel like if you were on the website at the time, this is probably bringing back memories. But as I said, I wasn't. Oh, I see how they're doing it. So it doesn't. It's all new to me. Yeah, this is 1996. This is not 1999. It's not Avril Lavigne. It's more like Leslie Jackson. And sorry, this part of the video is going on a lot longer than I expected because I didn't know it did all this. That's what I get for just like, oh, just keeps going. An entire song. So let me get this in here. Maybe there we go. Okay. I hope you don't mind that long excursion I just took talking about what was just supposed to be the desk and the computer for a minute. But that's fun. A lot of fun stuff in this set. Now I like it even more, in fact. But after going through all that together, I'm going to put it aside because I really do want to talk about the dolls that go into Isabel and Nicki's world. Oh, and it also comes with this chair, I should have said earlier. So now, what a mess I'm being. So here's what I was saying about being a little bit more like a personal series is because I was a teenager at the time. And I'm going to first reintroduce, because I've talked about her so many times on this channel, I'm going to talk first about Nicki's best friend in the 90s world, and that's Onika Clark. And she is the doll herself is a Mattel Addie who has this wig that I bought locally, and I didn't know what it was. So then in one of my videos, I talked about the tag inside says Monique, and then people in the comments let me know that Monique was a website that used to make a lot of BJD, ball jointed doll accessories, and then also wigs, I guess, for larger dolls like these 18-inchers. So that's the history behind that for anybody who's ever seen her before and been like, what is this wig? How do I get this doll? And if you come across a wig, something like this, listen, I was so excited when it appeared in a local Facebook group that I just fled to make sure that I was the first one to get it because I loved it so much. And I recently, when I talked about her, mentioned that she's kind of I gave her the last name based on a friend I had in junior kindergarten, which is the first year of school in Canada. It's I guess maybe preschool time for people in America, because I have been asked what's junior kindergarten? It's every time I talk about something, I'm like, it's regional. I should try to remember to specify what it means. But their friendship, so Nicki and Onika, is like the story in my mind is based on a friendship I had when I was around 16. And this video might be a little bit personal because of it took place their their world, like their historical period took place at a time that, like I said earlier, was very developmental for me. So I've said this before on my channel that when I was in my mid-teens, it was no longer safe for me to be at home. So I, left home very young, 16 years old, nowhere to go. And eventually I ended up in a youth shelter. And in that youth shelter, my roommate was my first friend who also happened to be gay. And so their friendship is based a lot on, I mean, they're not homeless in the story, but, or unhomed, I should say. But their dynamic is just like, they go everywhere together. She's a year older than Nicki, just like my friend was. And so Nicki really looks up to Onika, and, they're kind of like, they're not the bad girls of the school, but, Isabel's world is preppy and they're a little bit more alternative. So that's why, because they're always together, people are always speculating and, saying things. And Onika's the one who's just like, who cares? And Nicki's like, you know what, you're right, I shouldn't care. So that's kind of the dynamic of the friendship. And I haven't gotten this deep into it because it's like a little ridiculous thing to tell that I have this thought in my head. But it's like I'm always telling stories on here and people are okay with it so far. So that's why there is a very deep story friendship between them. And that's why I always talk about Onika, because she does represent a lot about friendships I've had in my like younger years when I was developing my developmental years. And so having Nicki be not me, but like the most me in the American Girl world because of the age she's at and because of the time period she takes place, I relate a lot to the doll. And I put a lot of my like self into her story. So yes, now I feel like it's the fullest version of their story, but it's not the fullest. Anyway, there'll always be more, and I don't want to say it all in one video because it's like I have so much to get through, and I'm excited to get through it. It's not that I'm trying to like make things short. I'm just excited. So now, having said that, let me talk a little bit more about Isabel's best friend, because even though I've shown her on the channel, I didn't really get into her history and her relationship with Isabel. So this, as you should be able to see, is a Tiana doll who I've modernized, as in she's no longer in the 1920s, but she's still like in the past because she's in the 1990s. And so I guess if you thought about the movie that I mentioned earlier, Clueless, she would be a little bit like Cher's Dion, but that was not my intention at all. And her name is Bailey, and the reason I've named her Bailey is because I have another Tiana doll who's not part of the world, even though it's her sister in my collection. I know that doesn't make any sense, but she's just not part of their friend group. She's got her own life. So they're sisters, and one is named Madison, the other doll, and this is Bailey, because there's both Bailey Madison, there's an actor Bailey Madison and an actor Madison Bailey, and something about them reminds me of both those actors, even though those actors remind me nothing of each other. So again, convoluted. I'm running all over the place with these descriptions, but that's how the name just came to me. And so they're best friends. They're kind of like, I don't want to say they're the mean girls of the school, but everybody really likes them because they are bubbly, they are nice. But it probably doesn't make sense that Nicki doesn't love her how do I say this? She doesn't love her role in the school. So she's kind of like, they're very different from each other, even though I know in the books and stuff, they're very, very close. But this is my version of the twins, so it's going to be different. And I think that might be all she's got. As you can see, she's got Isabel's flashback outfit, and I've taken down her hair from the Tiana hairstyle. This lip gloss came with a CYO set. This bracelet came with one of the birthday outfits, and it's supposed to be like a reflection of her necklace over here. It's like the same kind of heart beads. So hers are, what are they, stars? So that's kind of like their friendship bracelet / necklace that they wear together. So let me move on to the next dolls, because I feel like I'm saying some ridiculous stuff, but that's nothing new. So no, okay. So I'm not going to show her yet. Next, I'm going to talk about a doll I've recently shared in my Sonali mold collection video. And now I can explain why I ended up getting this doll. So this is Gabriella. Her name is still Gabriella in the story, but she's wearing Nicki's pajamas. So obviously she's one of the, no, I wouldn't say she's the alternative girl. She's this, their world is made up of like four best friends and then one friend who ties them all together. So her best friend is not going to sit with her, but so they're kind of like having a slumber party, and uh, there's not much else to say about her, to be honest, because I shared her in the last video. I talked about why I ended up getting her and how she's, as you can see looking at her, she has amazing hair. She's just like the most perfect Gabriella I've ever seen. I had no intention of ever owning her, but that was kind of how I convinced myself, like, oh, I can put her in the nightgown, and then she's covered, like her cloth body's covered, and then she's perfect. And looking at her sitting like that, I'm going to give her, because there are also pets, and I'm going to give her Nicki's puppy, whose name is Blossom in the storyline. And Blossom, I don't know if she's named after the early 90s sitcom Blossom, which starred Mia Bialik, who people might know from Big Bang Theory. And I don't know her character in that show, because I've really not seen that much of it. So I'll talk about her cat in a minute, because there's a lot more to say about the cat. But before I get to the cat, I'm going to introduce Gabriella's best friend, Leah, who is another girl of the year, and she's wearing Isabella's pajamas. And because these two, I have them on display in the kitchen, the last kitchen, not the pink and purple one that came out most recently, but the last one. It's like purple and teal, and to me, I just feels very 90s. So that's why I put them on display in that set. So now that I have them, I realize, okay, I need to get the slumber party set and like other parts of the 90s dolls of the 90s collection, because I just want to make sure that she's not going to slide onto the floor. Because as I've said, this was a very influential time in my life. So it's like more and more, I want all of it. So there are a few pieces I'm missing. And I know I glazed through them because there wasn't much else to say. They're best friends, just like they're best friends and they're best friends. And I'm going to introduce the last two characters. Oh, no, before I do, sorry. Again, excited. My brain's all over the place. This is Isabel's kitten, whose name, her canon name, is Buffy. And I'm sure most people would know that Buffy, the kitten, would be named after Buffy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And when I talk about influential developmental time in my life, Buffy is like the show that took me from adolescence to adulthood. I remember being like, I was kind of the same age as the character, maybe a little bit younger, but as I was like navigating, going into adulthood, and there were things that she was going through on the show, not the monstrous side, but like the real life side, and just looking at monsters as a metaphor, which is what the show was. I just remember going through bad times myself and being like, you know what? If Buffy could deal with an apocalypse, I can deal with like, this is going to sound dark, but I can deal with figuring out where I'm going to sleep tonight or things like that. And then as she got older, it was like some of the jobs I had to have to, like, as I was progressing in life, I had to work some really crappy jobs, as most humans have to do, so it's not that special. But it's like, even when Buffy had that job in the Double Meat Palace, look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about, I was just like, yeah, I can handle working at this coffee shop. Buffy worked at the Double Meat Palace. So that's why having the cat named Buffy is just like so poetic. It's so like meaningful. And like, I don't even think American Girl, they don't know me. They couldn't have done this on purpose, but somehow they managed to get me with all this like nostalgia bait with this set. So there's Buffy with Leah, because now I'm really excited to introduce the last two dolls. Oh, sorry, there are three more, but the next two dolls, one I haven't shared yet, and one I've shared, but not in her final form. And when, so I didn't know this outfit existed until the channel American Boy Collects American Girl showed this 90s outfit, like an outfit that was actually released in the 90s by American Girl. And I just was like, I need to find that outfit. And I ended up finding it locally for a really good price from someone I bought so much. I've actually talked about her so much because I bought so much stuff from her. And it's just like a coincidence that she has all the stuff I want. But anyway, so this is Brandy. The character's name is Brandy. And she's wearing the rollerblading outfit from the 90s. And I if there's anyone out there who hasn't seen this outfit, is it not amazing? Like if you're from the 90s, you feel like you're looking at your past. And I named her Brandy after Brandy Norwood. She is, sorry, Brandy the singer from the 90s. She's Truly Me 127. I'm sorry, I will never remember the Truly Me number, so I had to look it up. And well, so her full name is Brandy Brown because I named her after both a singer, as I mentioned, and my favorite, let's say, rapper from around that time, Foxy Brown. And I have another character with the last name Brown, but they're not related. It's just a pretty common last name. So I'm I've been so like eager to show this because I just love this outfit. Her hair didn't go exactly how I wanted it to go. I wanted to buy like little miniature baubles, like the ones with the two balls on the end and different colors to do the same hairstyle because that was a little bit more 90s than these colorful elastics. I didn't know anybody who wore their hair like this, but it's fine. If one day I find little miniature baubles, I will just put them over these colorful elastics. But I just love this outfit so much, and I love it on my Truly Me 127. And the doll I got from the same person who sold me this outfit. So if she ever sees this video, look at what look at what you gave to me or sold to me. And I'm very grateful to have these both in my collection because I got them both at a steal, and just it's always exciting when that happens. And so the last character I'm going to introduce is Brandy's, I guess I would say, best friend. So they're kind of like an outdoorsy pair. Not the last doll, sorry. The last, I still have two more. I keep forgetting. Sorry. Again, my brain is on like hyperdrive right now, and it's not a first time. So I'm sure anybody who's seen my other videos is used to me when I get really excited. So not the last doll, the second last doll. It's just I haven't shown her before, so I think that's why I'm calling her the last doll. This is Kaylee, and as you can see, I put her in Isabella's tennis outfit. She's not always gonna be with the tennis ball and tennis. This is called a racket. I'm not sporty. I don't know. But because they're going to be kind of displayed in an outdoors background, it's okay that she's holding it this way for now. I'm trying to figure out if I can fit them all on here. I was too ambitious. So this version of Kaylee, I bought her somewhat locally. It was a drive away, and I knew buying her that she had trimmed hair, but I thought because of my vision for her, because I wanted her to have like a sort of, I don't know, I feel like this is a little bit Baby One More Time, Britney Spears. This is the most 1999 out of all of the 1999 outfits that are up on, or that are part of Nicki and Isabel's collection. Oh my God, is it Isabella or is Isabel? I'm honestly, see, that's what I'm saying, like my brain. What was I saying? So this is the most 1999, and as you can see, she's got a cardigan thrown over the outfit because I don't like to show off too much of the upper body if it like shows off the socket and things like that. And I just thought it made it a little bit more Britney Spears Baby One More Time, because I would imagine this little group up here, if they really are 1999 and not 1995 to 1997 as I think, they would probably be like Team Britney Spears. And I don't know. No, Brandy would definitely be a Foxy Brown fan. That's why I gave her that last name. But my girls over here, Nicki and Onika, they're like Luscious Jackson, all the alternative songs from the mid to late 90s, if that matters. And now I think that's all I want to say about them. I'm just trying to be certain because, as I said, they're very personal to me. The last doll is sort of the glue that keeps both groups together. And her name is Hannah. I've shown her a couple times recently, but you finally get to see her without an apron on, so that's like a nice change. And she is Truly Me 111, but she's wearing a different wig, so that's why her hair looks so flat, because the 90s were all about flat hair parted down the middle, which is probably why I still to this day like flat hair parted down the middle so much. And she's also on display in the kitchen where the Slumber Party girls are located. And I'm going to give her a Felicity doll to hold in her lap because, she doesn't need to be exposed that way. This Felicity doll, I don't know if I was done talking about Hannah, but just quickly to say that this Felicity doll, when I first got her, she was a gift from the person who gave me or sold me what you see here. And I was like, oh no, she's not wearing the meat outfit. But it turns out this outfit, is it her traveling outfit? Was released in 1999, which is when these dolls take place. And if in their story, not my story, not my version of their story, if they were, came from a wealthy family, they would probably have the most up-to-date American Girl outfit for their doll. So going back to Hannah, so she's the voice of reason, not just the glue. She's the one who not just keeps them together as a unit, but keeps them together as individuals. Like when they're having a party at the Hoffman house, she's the one who'll be cleaning up after them and telling them to, like keep it together. Your parents are gonna get mad. So I don't know if I really had a friend like that. I probably could have used one, but I ended up being stuck being the voice of reason a lot of the times, and I don't know if that was really a good thing because, uh, should I say this? Yes. Okay, so the reason I see the Nicki side as more of like what I was going through at that age is because they seem like, they'd be a little more going out, hanging out with friends, doing things. And in the 90s, uh, let's just say in the circles I hung out with, we weren't ID'd when we went into places. So that's where I'm saying it would have been nice to have a voice of reason friend back then, because my friends and I were a little bit wild for 16 years old. And I mean, nothing like wild as in like having friends doing friend things, not like wild like adult things. But that's why I look at this group on my left side as like I look at them very fondly, and that's why I've been so excited to talk about this little world, the 90s world. But thinking about it now and all the things I've said, maybe I shouldn't have been excited. Maybe I should have waited even longer. But it's okay. I think most of you are used to me by now. And so I think that's everything I need to say about how many dolls are here? 2, 4, 9. So I think that might be the most dolls I have in any one collection right now. But I mean, I'm always buying new dolls, so that could change. And I'm thankful to anyone who's listened this long and who has stuck around to see all the dolls that I'm really excited to show. And I want to add a little quick note at the end that, as I said earlier, Joss is my favorite mold. And I'm so excited that we got a new Joss mold doll named Anna, who came out, as I'm filming this, came out last night, so about 24 hours ago from when I'm filming this. And I was really lucky to buy her at that extortionate price, but the prices are what they are. We can't change that. So one day I'm going to add that to my Joss collection. And I think I've said way too much now, but I'm just talking in excitement. So anyway, having said all that, I will see you soon in the next one.